Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the discussion How to Build Pandemic-Proof Strategy, Lithuanian Fintech Success Story. My name is Titas Budrys. I will be the moderator for the discussion, and here with me we have Jekaterina Govina, Executive Director of Financial Market Supervision Service. This is the new name of the service. We have Liudas, Kanapienis, CEO of Ondato, and we have Linas, Armalys, CEO of Novity Finance. So before we start, I would like to ask each one of you to shortly talk about who you are and about the organization you represent. Let's start with you, Katrina.
Yeah, I can start. So as you already presented me, I'm Executive Director of Supervision of Financial Market. But why I am here, probably I need to explain. It's because for the last 3 years, I was responsible for developing and executing fintech strategy that was adopted by the Bank of Lithuania 4 years ago. I was head of innovation committee at the Bank of Lithuania, so it is like more focusing on our internal digitalization processes. So that's me.
Thank you. Liudas?
Hi, my name is Liudas. I'm the CEO and the co-founder at Ondato. We are helping financial institutions with the compliance, especially with the Know Your Customer field, so with the remote customer identification, onboarding, account opening, and giving the tools for serving the customers remotely.
Thank you. And Linas?
Yes, hello. I hope you see me. So, I'm head of Novity Finance. We are a company which is providing loans and other financial solutions for small-size enterprises, the biggest segment of the market, of corporate lending market, and which is very much underserved, was always, and now it's especially. So, very active partner of the state, of Invega, of European Investment Fund, in actually providing those services for my mentioned businesses.
Okay, thank you. Let's start with talking about Lithuanian Fintech Success Story and twisting it a bit towards a success story of Lithuania in fintech as a country. So, Jekaterina, first question is for you. How did this happen? I mean, I'm sure you got asked this so many times, but very shortly, how did Lithuania came to be the success story in fintech?
Yeah, I think that we need to put it in a book someday, the recipe of how to build a successful fintech strategy. But maybe the main ingredient, and I want to focus maybe on that factor, was actually successful cooperation. And successful partnership, not only between public sector institutions. So there we had Bank of Lithuania, our policy setter like Ministry of Finance, and our investment promotion agency Invest Lithuania, like joining forces in order to act in one voice, both internally and externally. It's like cooperation between public sector institutions, but it is as well about partnership with the private sector. And here we have Rockit or Rise Vilnius, as it was previously. So a lot of private sector initiatives contributed to that mutual initiative that was appeared to be successful. So it's about partnership, first of all. And second ingredient, I think worth mentioning, is about agility of our country. Because we are a small country, very ambitious country, and of course we need, the country without any, not without any, but with small natural resources. So we cannot rely on earning money from just being very well geographically positioning. So as a small country, we needed to be very agile and to find really good direction. Where could we focus on? So fintech at that time, and we set as a strategy, the fintech strategy. It was years 2015, 2016. So it became very popular, like globally. Yeah, a lot of was happening, and we just catch the moment, I would say. So yes, just summing up, about agility. Sorry, I just finished my thought. So it was about like changing the environment accordingly to investors' demand. And fintech sector, for them, it was really important to have short time to the market. So what we did, we transformed our licensing process in order for it to be like very user-friendly and very efficient regarding especially time. So we could offer like not 2 years like waiting for a license. We could offer much shorter time. As a Bank of Lithuania, we offer it for fintechs the access to payments infrastructure, which was as well really important for them, not depending only on the banking industry, and many other factors. So we were really agile, like in transforming ourselves in order to like fit with the goals of fintech sector. And here we are.
Jekaterina, follow-up question. How much of it in percentage was actually the change in local regulation to make it more friendly towards fintech and versus marketing of the country itself?
I would say that marketing, of course, made main part of it. So there were actually not major changes. Of course, we needed to legalize like a remote customer onboarding process. It was legalized at that time, but only with e-signature. And of course, we understand that nobody except of Lithuanians, some Lithuanians use e-signature outside of Lithuania. So we like legalized this other approach that customers could be onboarded using our other methods. So it was really important. Like it was like a slight change, but it opened it to our like companies and investors access to not only to Lithuanians but to other European Union citizens as well. So answering to your question, of course, there were like slight changes in the regulation, but it was more about like packaging all this value proposition in one and marketing it outside, which Invest Lithuania actually did a great job about.
Great. Let's move.
If you don't mind, I will just a bit of add-on on all of this.
Go for it.
Because we as Lithuanians are really humble and shy, you know, and Jekaterina is shy as well here. Because to be honest, from the global landscape perspective, I mean from the Lithuanian fintech perspective, the main and the core thing that actually made it happen was the real leadership that we saw in the governmental institution. And that was actually the root cause why Lithuania became the real fintech friendly country and moving forward. And that's actually the compliments for all the, you know, Bank of Lithuania and especially for the board as well, because they took this responsibility. And we had really lots of things actually during this time, if you remember, you know, all these Revolut coming things and all this stuff. And there were really lots of waves and winds behind that. But the leadership actually showed that we can make it happen. And really compliments here on that as well, and we don't have to be shy on this. So I would say that this is the core thing.
Yeah, it's definitely about taking risk. You cannot do anything if you are not willing to take the risk. And in governmental institutions, it's usually just, I would rather stay away.
Yeah, and then all the cooperation with the Invest Lithuania and all the other local municipality institutions and everything was just actually, you know, just following the leadership, you know, because when other institutions, they see that it can happen, you know, so then they are following it, and that's it.
Okay.
May I add up also to Liudas? You know, when I always talk with my colleagues from abroad, or with Lithuanians one, I'm also very much happy, and I'm just asking my Lithuanian colleagues, show me a country where you might participate in an event, and then afterwards catch a Minister of Finance and to talk about the things which are important for your sector, and that's also very good thing and very important thing that actually all those institutions, either Lithuanian Bank or Minister of Finance or Invega, they are actually open and they're actually listening to the things which are important for your sector, for the company, for your company who is working in that sector. So probably that's partly the good side of us as a small country. But on the other hand, I don't think that it is given. I mean, I think that even we have different small countries all over the world. So I mean, in Lithuania, it's very big plus that all those institutions are very open and people are very kind of, trying to listen what is important and to do their best in all those institutions. So.
Okay, thank you, Linas. Let's move towards discussing a little bit the actual fintech stories of the companies in Lithuania. And Liudas, a question for you. Can you call your company a fintech success story from Lithuania, and can you tell us why? I mean, I would definitely call it a success story. So can you now be the one that is not humble about yourself?
So, we have maybe a different approach on what we can call a success. Yeah. So I would call that we are moving to that direction. Yes, for sure. So that's the target. I will call myself successful when I will be becoming, unicorn company operating globally and so on. But of course we are moving to that direction from that perspective. Of course, building a business, you never know, and everything might be happening. But that, as it was mentioned, it's about also taking the risk, sometimes trying things before they will happen. I mean, especially we are a technology company, so we have to develop things first, then to deliver that to the market, and then to see if they have a good demand on or no. So there's also risk involved in that. But in general, yes, we are moving forward. This year we grew 3 times already, and planning still to grow and to hire more people here in Lithuania, and we will be trying everything what we can to stay in Lithuania as much as possible. It's not so easy, to be honest. Maybe it's another topic to discuss in some other time. But yeah, we are growing and moving forward.
Liudas, we just had we are now having a pandemic lockdown. We just had the first wave in spring this year, and now we're having the second wave. How does that affect your business? Did it actually, did you see any change in the results on how many customers you onboard per day or per week or per month, or in the revenue or in number of clients?
So, in general, I think that all the businesses that relates to some kind of remote helping or IT sector that helps actually to make some things more efficient or just enables the remote communication with, clients or whatever partners, they kind of grew in their customer portfolios. Of course, we did as well. Yeah. So especially what related with some kind of non-deciding customers or something, or maybe slower moving. So of course they started to move more quickly and so on and so on. On the other hand, we all have to understand that the relationship in general, building relationships, global venues, shows, and everything, it's not the same. And even now, I was in Slush like years before, and it's a really big global event with lots of people where you're building your networks and all the stuff. And we all understand that those network building remotely, especially during the venues, it doesn't work like this as it worked before. And this part, it doesn't help actually to build, a wider network and bigger customer base. However, I think that all of the businesses that, especially in our field, they saw, of course, a bigger growth that it was planned before, and we did the same.
Liudas, so how many actual customers do you onboard for your clients per day now during the pandemic?
You mean my customers? How many customers of theirs?
Yeah, how many of your customers have new clients coming through your Ondato onboarding system?
So now, it's maybe not so official, let's say, number to tell, but it's more than 10,000 a day. So
That's still impressive number, right?
It's not bad. Of course, we have other targets as well. So, but yeah, it's really not bad.
As far as I understand, your clients come from very different countries around the world as well, right?
Yeah. So now we operate mostly, let's say, in European and US region. Like the customers from there are the biggest customer base. The Asian region is picking up as well, and now the African region is showing quite a good result. So we'll see. So
Liudas, this is exactly why I would call you a success story in fintech in Lithuania. Like the growth, the number of clients onboarded per day, and the markets you actually access are quite impressive.
Yeah. So that's what I kind of reflected before.
And
yeah, so
how old is your company now?
So we started in 2018, and started actively selling in 2019, beginning of 2019.
Okay, so 2 years, a little bit more. Okay, great. Let's move to Linas. Linas, you mentioned in your, when you talked about yourself, you mentioned that you worked during the pandemic with government, with particularly in Vega, EU funding and so on, in providing loans for small and medium enterprises in Lithuania, actually getting the funds from the government and distributing them to the ones that need it most. Can you tell us about the experience and about the demand coming from the market for such a thing, basically the help from the government? And what kind of effects you think, did that help a lot to those businesses in your personal experience?
Yeah, definitely. Governments all over the world were looking for the most effective ways how to distribute those emergency loans for businesses, for small-size enterprises. So that was the problem all over, it appears that alternative lenders in Lithuania were the most active governmental partners in this task. And that's, again, not the exclusion of the rule, because if you look, again, at the situation in the United States, it was the same situation. First of all, government started to provide help via banks. Then, that went in a very bad way, in a slow way, and then the alternative lenders were added in order to really make it more efficient. In Lithuania, from the beginning, alternative lenders were in the process, and the result is this, that if to talk specifically about us, we were the second biggest loan provider, governmental loan provider for small-size enterprises, if to talk about number of loans provided, and the third one, if to talk about euros, millions. So the closest bank was number 3. So the first and the second most active partner were alternative lenders, and that is good. That probably shows that we might be a good partners of the state when that is needed the most. And I'm happy about that, and we plan to remain this partner in the future. That is very much needed. The problem by itself is not new. If to talk about specifically about this corporate lending, you heard it and you read it multiple times that businesses are saying, especially the small ones, that they are not getting funding they're not getting enough funding. Lots of businesses are rejected. And again, that problem is not unique for Lithuania. It's all over the world again. And I very much hope that both here, both abroad, alternative lenders might be the solution in this particular case. So, let's see how it will be. But by now, I think that we have very good partnership with the state, and we're definitely eager to deliver.
Linas, you mentioned that commercial banks were a bit more passive than the fintechs all around the world, including Lithuania. Why do you think is that?
If to be You know, I would say in this way. I mean, let's look at the nice like kind of example. I mean, there are lots of countries in the world who have, you know, a line in the kind of national symbol, but there is no country who has a cat. Yeah, you know, I mean, when the government is expecting that the banks will be effective with the small businesses, it's like similar way. It's like, you know, to have a lion and to expect that it will catch mice. So it's just not too interesting for the banks. That's what they have answered. I mean, they are focused on much bigger businesses. It's much more natural for them to deal with those. The processes are built to be effective in lending big sums for medium and big size enterprises. So what we see from our experience that in order to be effective with small businesses, processes should be built in different way. It should be built more in a way as retail businesses build. And that's not how the corporate banking is operating, if you look like what is the situation now. So that's basically the answer probably, that the organization should be performing in a different way, in a very lean way, in very kind of how to issue a relatively small size of loans in very effective way in order that it would not be too expensive, that it would be not too long. And that's how alternative lenders are built from, you know, from bottom up. That's not the way how banks are currently dealing. So that's probably the answer shortly.
Linas, it's not a secret that for the companies like yours, the lenders to the SMEs, especially in Lithuania, during the COVID and lockdown, you should have received a great amount of applications for the loans from the local companies, and I heard stories about the increase in the actual applications in times 5 or times 10 if you compare it to the times before. Would you say that it's a great chance for companies like yours, the lenders, to actually build the good portfolio of clients for the years to come if you have your risk management well adjusted to it?
I mean, definitely. That's an opportunity. That's one of the things which is very much important in probably all the crises, to see not only the risk, but also to see an opportunity. I would just mention that this particular situation is kind of, we were coming to all that gradually. So, you know, both peer-to-peer platforms, alternative lenders, they have not appeared in one day. I mean, we were working, like our company is working for the 5th year already, and the same similar situation is with other companies. It's just that this situation, in the same way as with e-shops, it was a very good moment really to pop up, to really kind of be kind of beneficial, to deliver that benefit when that benefit is very much expected. So, and that's what we did. I mean, we were lending all the time. Just when the crisis came, instead of stopping the lending as traditional lenders did, we actually made it even more active. So that is the difference. I mean, some guys, they have, you know, the luxury just to wait when the crisis will pass and then to return. We both do not have a luxury, nor it's according to our mission, our goals, to, you know, sit and wait for some kind of, I don't know, again, very good economical situation. We believe that there are good businesses in the market who should be financed, who can be financed, and that's what we do. And of course, when the supply reduced in all of the channels, well, that kind of that demand from the market, it has not disappeared. Companies are still looking for some funding, either for growth, either for some, you know, problem solving. And then, of course, there are not so many who are providing it. So those who are providing are getting automatically much more attention. That's what happened with us. Another good thing is that we are coming with the conditions like let's say all the sector is becoming very competitive, and there is currently not as big difference if you look like between the players, what condition they might get, let's say, in one institution or in another institution. That gap was bigger, much more bigger a few years ago, but basically now it's like very narrow or no difference at all, and that is also a beneficial thing. And I see that in the future, those conditions will become even better. So very much looking forward to that. I mean, I'm talking about the sector in general, not specifically and not so much about our company, but it's also valid for us.
Thank you, Linas. We have a few minutes left only, so I guess the last question would be for Jekaterina, and then you can add if you have anything. Very shortly, what do you think is next for fintech in Lithuania as a sector? Where do you think we might come ahead, especially given the pandemic and lockdown and the effects of it in the future?
Yeah, probably shortly. First of all, I think that the year 2020 was the year of opportunities for fintech sector overall. And these great stories about alternative financing, about Liudas and other companies who grew significantly during this year, I think that shows that it has a lot of opportunities for the future as well. The other point, yes, on what's next for fintech, and I hope very much that crowdfunding regulation that is coming, so we will have quite a harmonized approach within the European Union. So I think that Lithuania could benefit from that direction as well. So yeah, a lot was done in the payment sector. It's time to move to investment and other and lending as well. So crowdfunding could be the next thing for Lithuania.
Liudas, any last words? Stay safe.
Yeah, so stay safe. But I will agree with Jekaterina, basically. So the next will be, we'll see the lending sector growing up and the crowdfunding as well. So yeah, but as Linas mentioned, so there are always opportunities, just the matter if we are going to use them or no. Yeah, so then that's it. So and it's only our choice if to do that or not.
So thank you very much. Thanks for the speakers and thanks for the viewers, and stay safe, everyone, as Liudas said.
Yeah. Thank you, Titas.
Thank you, Titas.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Goodbye.